What is up, YouTube team? How we doing? I hope everyone's having a wonderful day and month so far. It's 2 days into our June. We are green, and we are looking to make some more money here overnight. So if you guys want to join us, come on and join me. If you've never been part of my sessions before, my name is Sniper Mike, and I usually like to play one day to the next. When I trade, I've been trading now for over 10 years. You can always see the whole history if you ever want to go check out my Profitly. It's been a history all the way back into 2016, 2015. Strategy is percent or less and make hopefully I'd say 10 to 15% plus overnight. So let's see what we can do here, and let's see if we can come up with possible winners like we were able to do 2 days ago on Monday. So the first ones that I like to go over are usually my favorites. I like to put 5 stocks on an overnight watch list. I call that watch list the sniper scope / overnight watch list. And what the goal is you want to buy as close to the support and hopefully sell above the resistance tomorrow. So if I were to open up the 5, and that's what I'm going to do right now because I've already done a quick scan pretty much across the board. I'm going to do one more, finish off my scans, but I think I found the 5 stocks, in my opinion, that I think look really good. We were just talking about the different style of stocks that we are looking at and the different sectors that are heating up. And space stocks are looking very hot today. CDU first green day, ASTC halted again on the way down, but still a huge spike in ASTC. You have ASTS, another space stock. So space stocks have been very hot lately. And what's funny is this one that's up 50% was a pharmaceutical stock 4 days ago. Well, I guess last week, 4 trading days ago. And they changed to a rocket / defense stock. Pretty interesting to see. But as I do my quick scan and see if there's anything else that I do like besides what I got out there, so just give me one quick second to see if I like anything else. If you have anything that you like today or think that has a good opportunity to follow up to tomorrow, let me know. I saw him and he brought up HGRAF earlier, and that one was all right. I mean, it's just a small first green day. I usually like to see 10% or more. So it's a little bit of a smaller day there. But I could see what you're looking at, and that's why I like the one UURAF. So UURAF is actually the one I'm buying already at this 442 spot. So if you're a fan of this style of OTC like HGRAF, I think UURAF looks pretty good for a potential follow-up. You could see in its history, it has a lot of follow-up days, a lot of follow-up days, a lot of follow-up days. And then we are creating a day that's spiking to 450, which is technically multi-month resistance. But at the same time, we're holding a support level of 440 almost all day, which it's coming down to right now. We'll see if it can hold that. But you want to see that hold into the close and possibly pop back up. But UURAF, not a bad watcher as we get into possible overnights. Let me just do one last scan, like I said, and then I'm going to make this watch list. And we're going to make the watch list together so you can see which ones exactly I think have that potential. Now, if you are a profitable trader already, that's great. This can be a strategy you can definitely add. I always say if you're profitable and you have something that works, that's what trading's about, finding something that works and continuing to go at it. I mean, it's beautiful how many different styles of ways you can make money in the market. So if you are, profitable, this is definitely something you can add to your arsenal. If you aren't profitable in the market yet, well, get excited. First of all, you could be learning something new with this, and it's something that I fell in love with once I first found out about it 9 years ago, 10 years ago when I first started trading. And number 2, if you don't have too much money, which a lot of people complain that PDT was the reason why they couldn't trade too much, well, PDT is officially being dropped on Monday. It's a monumental day in the stock market for a lot of smaller investors. It's a time where smaller investors can finally try to compete with the big boys and grow their accounts slowly, as long as they don't lose too much, which honestly, to tell you the truth, a lot of people say that they're in jail with PDT. They're like, oh no, PDT is locking me up, but at the same time, if you lose all your money, you're also locked up in jail and you can't trade anymore. And I don't think a lot of people realize, when you have the ability to unlimited trade, it's not like you're going to make money automatically. You still have to have fundamentals locked in, and you have more chances to lose, actually, which in my opinion, you still have to be very sharp midday. So I'll trade more midday as next week starts. You'll definitely see me trading a lot more midday. But at the same time, you want to make sure whatever you're trading midday has strict cuts and you have risk levels always in place. Because at the same time, when I first got over PDT, when I first crossed 25K back in 2019, I was actually stagnant for a little bit because I just didn't know what to do. I overtraded. I thought everything was going to end up be working out, and then you're kind of overwhelm yourself. You miss opportunities because you're looking at other opportunities. So at first, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty overwhelming, but once you zone it back in, I think it'll be fun. So get excited for that. For those of you guys out there that have been complaining about that, it looks like John Steele with the last name Steele, he's taken some silver and precious metal. So he's looking at the same exact sector we're looking at. Love to see that. And then we also have this cooler stock, this drone stock down here that just bounced perfectly off support. So that's good to see. But let me make this overnight watch list. We're going to do it together. So where I personally like to update my watch list, I saw you were talking HGRF earlier. Fannie Mae, I'll have to look at that one. But where I usually like to put my watch list are in the notes section. We do one every morning, which SPCE was a first red day today, and that was such a great winner from the watch list. You also had a great winner in Hub C from the watch list. We had CGEH that exactly fell out as well. And then DMGGF did continue. It just didn't officially break out. But let's see if we can make some money here now on that overnight watch list. And we're looking to try to take one of these, but I've already bought two of them. I'd say I'm doing pretty good on averaging 2 trades overnight. I usually do one listed and one OTC, and it looks like I'm doing that again with ABAT, which we have some at 393 if you want to join us. And then UUREF, right now I have some at 442. I do plan on adding more if they continue to hold into this close, which we only have 50 minutes left. So what I'm going to do now, we'll do it together. We're going to update this watch list. You can kind of hear where my brain's coming from when I put these stocks on there. KRKNF was the winner from yesterday. Very slow moving one. And UUREF is very similar. Very similar kind of play. Both slower moving kind of plays. And usually if they can continue or at least start up, they can continue for the next day. So that's all we're looking for. And now if it doesn't start off and it starts down back below 430, we're out. No need to be hanging around anymore. If you do look at the long-term resistance is all the way at 740 when it comes to UURF. So it was just recently at 740 in February. And then 340 is the long-term support. So how you read this watch list, just so I can explain it to people who have never done this with me before, is you're going to see the stock here. You're going to see what the stock pattern is, which we need 3 things whenever I enter a stock. That's the stock, the pattern, the risk level. As long as the stock, volume, the pattern, and the risk level. So you need the volume, the pattern, and the risk level. As long as those 3 things all check off, you usually are in good standard to possibly go after something. That's really, in my opinion, the 3 things that I personally look for when it comes to this style of trading. And if you look at, UURF, the pattern's there, which is a first green day. It's also a 3-month breakout. So 2 patterns in one, but it isn't, the breakout is at 450. So it needs to get back to the 450s to actually break out. But it was a breakout. It's technically like a first green day of the week. And if we can continue, there's a lot of follow-up days in this stock. You also, when you zoom into the chart, that's where you're going to find your daily support. And if you look at it, I usually look at a spot that it's been holding almost all day. And this has been holding this since 10 in the morning Eastern. So it's the first 30 minutes of the day it pushed, and it's been holding 440 cents. So if you like 442 with us, that's the spot that we were able to get. ABAT is the other one, the second one that we'll go over. And the goal on all of these is to buy as close to the support, sell above the resistance. So on the next one, we'll do ABAT, ABAT. And this is actually a former runner, but last time we played it, it didn't follow up. So I do have to be a little bit careful. It's a first green day, but also a month breakout, just like this one. Same kind of thing. It's a month breakout as well as a first green day. It's a listed EV stock. Slash battery. And I'm not going to lie, $4 is kind of heavy resistance. So I'm hoping that we can get back above that. And then if you zoom out to ABAT, if you notice, all my stocks that I talk about here have a very similar pattern. And that pattern is they usually have a former spike, because that means they could probably spike again. So with this stock, you see that spike that we had. We just talked about UURAF. That was a big spike that I like. So 2 opportunities, 2 spikes. That's why we go after what we go after, because that usually means they could possibly, get going again. So for ABAT, if it can, it doesn't have a lot of recent follow-up days, but I feel like it's due to finally move. So we'll see if it can get in and the markets are pretty hot lately. So that helps as well. So ABAT's the second one. We got our clear support and your clear resistance. And now if you look at the long-term stuff, your long-term resistance is all the way up here at 540, and your long-term support is like by 260. Usually that doesn't really matter, the long-term stuff, unless it's a breakout. The next one we will bring up is Cooler, KUL, actually ELTP. Let's do that lighter volume OTC, because it is testing that 41 spot again. And I want to see if it's going to be able to get above that spot of 40. I like the chances if it can kind of get some volume into the close, because it has some good history of follow-ups here. I know it's light volume, but this is another one like DMGGF yesterday that is just a former runner and a 10-year history that I've seen that knows how to follow up. So all 3 of these patterns are the same style of pattern here, where if you have first green days that are also turning in to month breakouts. 41 is officially the 3-month breakout, and that's where it stopped out at. So we want to see if it can break back above 41 today. And then it's holding 39 all day. My dog is snoring behind me. I'm sorry if you hear that. He's a French bulldog. He's a little loud. We're going to buy a little more of this ABAT here. It seems to be making a nice little curl for the gang. And I think it's going to be the last little bit we have, because we already got a good amount at 393. So that is the ABAT buys we're getting, adding to our 393, which we've already got most of our buys down there. In my chat, I try to get a full buy and then I send it, but I am talking to my team throughout my whole day, and we did talk about how we got some ABAT here at 393, and then also when I was buying the UURAF as well, all the way back at 110, even though it's back at the same spot. That's when we were kind of starting up with it. So usually I'm looking at them throughout the day, even though I don't, I'm not live all day. I'm live 2 times of the day. I'm usually still looking constantly. All right, so let's finish up with the last part of this list here. So with ELTP, we'll see if it can get back above that 40, but we do have sellers. And then the last two I'm going to put on there, I'm going to do Cooler because that's a drone stock, the listed drone stock that's also making a multi-month breakout. What's great is when you're in a hot market, that's what happens. You have tons of stocks that are breaking out. Everything's looking strong. And usually if they're flowing, you keep flowing with them. Now, what's cool about KULR is it actually has news. So, and it's a former runner. It did a reverse split back here, so you do have to be a little bit careful. It's a dilutive stock. But I like what we've got. It's also, like I said, a former runner in the past. And we're making new multi-month highs. And it's holding 520 all day. And then the last one I'm going to do is that one Johnny put up. Shout out to my man Chamo. He's been with me for a while. Sniper Chamo. DBLVF. It's another metal stock. Technically, it's a gold stock, and it's an OTC gold one. Gold/metal stock. It's actually a newer one. I've never seen this one before, so usually I like to go after stuff I've seen, but this one does have a lot of history of follow-up, so I'm going to bring it up. Let's see if it, as long as it keeps holding into the close, it's another one. Out of all five of these, I honestly like them all. So you can kind of pick or choose. That's the beauty about this trading style is you find what kind of stocks you like. Some of them will be penny stocks, some will be slower movers. But once you find those, you can see this one has the history of follow-up days. There's big gap ups there, 250 and 140. And that is where our list is going to end. So we've got 5 stocks. Typically, I always like to talk about 5. I'll put less if there's not as much. I don't usually put more unless it's really hot out there. But the 5 that we got are here with UURAF and ABAT as our starters at 393 here and 442 here. And then maybe we'll buy something else into the close. We'll see what happens. But the 5 that I personally like, we've already got, like I said, these 2 started up, but we still have ELTP, Cooler, and DBLVF as watchers for overnight plays. Usually I like to keep UAMY up too because this is a metal stock that's up 8% as well. So a listed metal stock that's also moving. It's nice to see multiple metal stocks going. But yeah, let's get it. At this point now, you usually like to just zone yourself into certain levels and see what we can break or what we can push. So let's see what we get. I'm surprised no one really tried that short of CGEH, but it did come tumbling down. So both CGEH, which I'll look more towards like $8 and maybe even lower, but both CGEH and SPCE will be definitely potential watchers for panics tomorrow and then first green days. So if you don't love anything on these overnight watch lists, I always create as well a morning watch list. And that morning watch list usually, oh, damn it. There it is. Usually has just about like 4 to 5 stocks as well as the stuff for an overnight. But we had a crazy movement in ASTC this morning, HubC as well. So we'll be watching morning momentum plays. They've been pretty hot lately. And then we also have SPCE, and then we just talked about CGEH, which was also on the list there for the panic dip buy. So those are the first spots we'll look for these stocks to come down to. You want to be a little more careful when it comes to that. And then the two stocks, since we're in these overnight, we'll see if they can continue on the multi-month breakouts. If I'm in it overnight, I like to highlight it in green. All right, but we got 40 minutes left still in the day. We've got time into the close. Let's see what happens on our last 4 days left while we're in the PDT jail, technically. Yeah, but going back to that PDT jail story, honestly, people will put themselves right back in jail because I also feel like they're going to lock themselves up after a move. So you got to be a little careful. If you bankrupt yourself, you can't trade anymore as well. So something you want to be careful about. ELTP has a buyer, but it's down at 38. Let's see if the buyers can move up. Usually you look for big buyers in slow stocks like this. So we'll see if this thing can get forming. But I like the look of it. All right, so we've still got ourselves some time. We officially got some finals and Stanley Cup hockey coming up. Really, really pumped up for that. Tonight is the hockey game, then tomorrow is the basketball game. I'm technically going to start rooting for the Hurricanes. I don't want Golden Knights to win. They're the team that beat the Panthers the first time around, and they've just been good to start their year and franchise. 9 years Las Vegas Knights have been a franchise, and they've been to the Stanley Cup 3 times now. So 30%, their fans are living. Their fans are living life to the fullest. Still watching this A-Bat to add some more. I think I'm going to get my last little bit here. I like what I got. We got a 394 average now. So we got a total of now 1,600 shares at that 394. ABAT. HGRF kind of interests me. It was just not up enough, Himmy. Just wasn't enough, man. Well, we're looking at ABAT and UURAF, and then ELTP possibly if we can get going just a little bit. But we need better volume, and we need to break 40 into the close. ABAT is listed, so it will move after hours. That SPCE, what's been going on with this space sector has been amazing. It's not just the large stocks like ASTS and Rocket Labs that's gone absolutely crazy. You had SPCE, Virgin Galactic, that's been able to squeeze now like nuts. And it squeezed all the way from $2 pretty much lows, 250, all the way to 890 recently. So beautiful move to see and beautiful potential. And now it's going to create this dip, but where would a dip? Tomorrow can easily turn into a morning momentum play as well if it holds. So it's either going to be a panic dip buy or possibly a morning momentum play if it holds, because I know a lot of shorts are trying to short that. Now, if you did catch the short yesterday when we were looking at it at $8, that would have been gold. And if you looked at it, from $8, it had just the perfect resistance. It went above it early in the morning, and then it went above it late in the afternoon, but it got rejected twice, came back down. We've got Cooler trying to curler. Looks like 520 and 510 are good support levels there. And let's see if ABAT can actually get the 4. Yeah, HGRAF wasn't too bad. Oh, yeah, now it's curling. It's up 5%. I could see what you like there. This AMFN was looking pretty decent. It's starting to form. Let's see if it gets that next leg up. Love to see that. Put that on the weekly. I'll put that on the morning watch list tomorrow. What I ideally look for is I try to buy within the last hour, usually 2 hours of the day. And I'm looking for strong closes. But within those strong closes, you can usually find some weaknesses to try to buy into. And as long as they hold their supports, then you look comfortable for tomorrow. Now, ideally, I would look like both this UURAF that I own at 442 right now and ABAT that I own at 394 to close above their highs. But if they don't, that's what we look for tomorrow. Now, if they don't close above their highs, we need them definitely to close above their support. If they don't close above their support, I'm very uncomfortable and probably selling right away the next day if it doesn't move at all. But there's always restrictions. Some stocks aren't going to move just like every stock. That's the beauty of trading. I always compare it to golf. If you've never played golf before, it's pretty much just a game that you cannot be perfected. And I love games that can't be perfected because it keeps you excited every day, honestly, in my personal opinion. ABAT trying to curl back to highs. Let's see if $4 gets rejected again. But it is trying to come back to that $4 spot. And then Cooler, the other drone stock, if you were looking at it this morning, it came out with news. So usually I always say if it's in a sector that's hot, and honestly drone stocks are somewhat hot right now because of what's going on. But I usually say that if they have news, that's another bonus. And as you can see, it's prototype battery development contract with US-based military drone manufacturer. So Cooler secured some sort of deal with a drone manufacturer that has a deal with the US military. So that causes a spike and causes attention. Now, how long will that attention last? That's usually why I try to buy these stocks one day and sell them the next, or maybe sell them in 2 days, because sometimes a lot of this hype will run out. But if you can be there while the hype is still there and make sure you're out by the time it's not, then you can usually, make some money. A great example would be this morning. The morning watch list play we had in the morning momentum play was ASTC. And we were looking for it to get above 33. That's why we had that line there. Once it did, it never really came back below it. It tested it, and then it took off. And then it really took off. And off to the races it's been. But imagine catching this in 30, 32, 33, and it hit 60. You almost made 100% in a day. So the opportunity is definitely there. It's beautiful to see the momentum. Now, this is in the space sector, and the space sector is hot. You have this one up 25%, but it technically spiked 100% today. You have RKTO that broke back out. I didn't even notice that, but that actually just went crazy just now. So a double squeeze in RKTO. And these stocks will cause more runners as long as other things in the sectors go. And it's great to see. There's one. Then you get SPCE that's coming down. But I'm sure if all these start going, this is probably going to get its bounce too sooner than later. And it could possibly be tomorrow. We'll have our lines on that as well. Because you saw what ASTC did after one red day. It usually takes one red day to think that shorts are winning. And once those shorts can't win anymore, you get completely taken over by wins. So beautiful move there. All right, we officially got 30 minutes. Usually if I'm not in stuff, I try to get a little more aggressive in the last 30 minutes here. I actually didn't get to post about my man last week, but he actually made 500 on SPCE, which is a really big win for somebody that's starting up. So nice work again. But I recently kind of made a small little post about that. But SPCE has definitely been the main attraction with the space sector for almost all week, last week, and definitely to start the week this week already. ELTP's got a brick wall at 40. It's having a hard time breaking above that spot. That's the last one I could possibly see myself going after. I don't think I'm going to do this DBLIVF, but if you do like it, DBLVF's there as well, but I think I'm going to stay away from that one. And Cooler, I'm probably going to stay away from too unless it dips again. Now, Cooler does move after hours. So what's great is sometimes you can catch these dip after hours. On Friday to Monday, we were able to catch FFAI after hours on a perfect dip. And this came right from our overnight watch list. So just like we have right now, the overnight watch list that we make every day, we did it on Friday over to Monday, and it actually went 5 for 5. So all of these followed up. But this one spiked like 30% overnight. This is the one we made money off of overnight. You had the one John was in, SPCE. So, and then NLST we also made money off of. But FFAI, if you looked at it, which we also made money off of, had this really nice first green day. And then it gave a dip, and we got into this dip. And then look at what happened on the next day. We got in at 3.5 on a dip. Imagine getting at 3.3 or 3.4. But it ran all the way to 44 that next morning. We actually sold it at like 42. But what a move and what a follow-up. And that's usually what we look for when we're going from one green day to the next. Does anybody have any questions? LASE, I know that one's a wild one. I was watching that one as well. You have a huge runner, definitely an after-hours mover. Another one that'll be fun to watch after hours, without a doubt. So another drone-related stock with drone news. So Cooler moving. LASC is leading the way for drone stocks, up 160%. Last week, we had a drone stock with government news, and that actually caused a huge spike. I don't know if you guys saw it, but UMAC, UMAC, which the name of this stock is one of my favorite. Unusual Machines, it's called. Unusual Machines. What a name for a stock, right? I love that. But Unusual Machines gapped up after the government said, we're going to have to be a part of this. Now, the government's making deals with a lot of these companies and sectors that are hot. Chip companies, quantum sectors, AI companies, AI stocks. It's interesting to see this happening. But yeah, UMAC's also making new highs. So this drone stock, which comes from where? None other than the weekly watch list. It's actually the third one on there. Nice morning move there. Who you guys got tonight? Anyone an actual Hurricanes fan, or is anyone an actual Las Vegas Knights fan? I know John lives in Vegas, but it's they're a brand new team. I'm a huge Panther fan. I actually grew up a Florida Panther fan all my life in hockey, so I got to experience the last 3 years of my hockey fandom as one of the best years I think I'll ever have. And what's even better is my twin brother Nick actually started working for the team as all this started happening. So almost behind scene access, season tickets. It was unreal opportunities. Definitely a time I'll never forget and a run I'll never forget that's stated in history forever. So it'll always be like I was there for all of that. Got to see a game 6 in the finals, got to see a game 7 in the finals. Both times the Panthers raised the Stanley Cup. So I'm just hoping for a good series this time. It's the first time in 3 years that the Panthers aren't in. If you do follow hockey, you know that the Panthers were very injured this year, and their captain just came back, and he started playing for Finland because they had a small little international tournament. It wasn't a small little one, but a nice international tournament. They actually won Finland, so nice to see Barkov back as a captain on Finland, leading the way to another championship for him. Guy hasn't been on ice in forever. He wins right when he comes back. Now that's a winner. And it'll be fun to watch. And then we got the New York Knicks tomorrow. And I got a lot of friends that are Knicks fans. For some reason, I can't stand Knicks fans. But they're still my friends. In a way, I kind of want them to win. But Wemby's fun to watch too. So rooting for them both. I just want a good series in that one too. None of them are my teams. All right. We got 20 minutes left. Does anybody have any tickers or anything that they're looking at besides the ones we got? If not, we're going to zone our way and keep going for it. Yeah, exactly. I saw that. Hurricanes are minus 140 for 48 at home. I honestly love the Hurricanes. I think they're an unstoppable force right now, but Vegas is the same thing. Very hot momentum right now. Very hot momentum. I mean, they fired their coach before the playoffs started, and their new coach is like 19-3. It's pretty cool to even see that. Is the Cinderella Tortorella story going to end? We shall see. I mean, the Hurricanes have been the one that have played the Panthers 3 times in a row in the Eastern Conference Finals. They've got there every time, but they just can't do it. Or at least 2 times in a row. I think it's either 3 or 2. But now they've got over the hump of the Eastern Conference Finals, so that's why I feel like it's their turn. Their goalie's playing good too, and their goalie's playing good. That usually helps a lot. But we'll see. All right, Cooler, coming up to new highs. We got 543 highs for Cooler. So if anyone caught that VWAP dip, I didn't, but it did take a small little dip to VWAP, and then it immediately recovered. This is the strength we talk about into the close, but there is still 20 minutes left in the day. But usually you want your stocks to be pushing back towards highs. And if they don't, you definitely want them to be holding support. So those are usually the 2 things I look for into the close here. And Cooler is heading back to highs. What are you doing down there, buddy? It's good to see that the city's going crazy. I honestly think that it couldn't be a cooler spot that they did the parade. So when Vegas won, they did the parade down the strip, which is really fun and cool. But in South Florida, they actually did it along the beach. It was a really cool spot. Awesome experience. Got to get the first front row VIP because of my brother for that experience as well, which was grade A. cup. They were pouring beer out the cup, the Stanley Cup. Got to touch it a couple times, take pictures with it. My brother's got 2 rings. It was awesome. All right, A-Bat is going to come to test 4. We'll see if it can push any higher. But nice start at least. And this is like we talked about. You want to strength into the close. But like we do still have 20 minutes left. So there is still time into this close without a doubt. But for A-Bat, that looks pretty good. Let's see if it can break above this 4. There's Nick. Nick is in the house. We were just talking about the Panthers run and how cool it was, how fun it was. And it's not over. The Panthers run, I don't think, is over. But those last 3 years, it's been weird for me because usually these are times that I'm having a good time partying. Past 3 years, I've been actually traveling to South Florida, partying, doing different things, very occupied with the stock market and hockey because of Nick and the Florida Panthers. But this year was nice. Kind of got a little break, and I needed it because I'm getting ready for a wedding coming up for next year. All right, A-Bat. Are we going to make new highs here? We'll see. Other than that, UURF is still holding 440, but still not really moving too much. Metal stocks are holding, though, UAM-wise up. And if you zoom out, you've got some other lighter volume metal stocks that are holding. Also, the metal higher price, sector kind of watcher that I look at, MP, is coming up to the 75 multi-month resistance. So we'll see if MP follows up as well for the metal stocks. Tomorrow morning, this SPCE, it looks like it's not going to get any type of bounce right now. So we'll be watching it to panic more. But from 890, it's already down to 450. If it can get closer to this 340 breakout spot, that's when I think we can possibly start to maybe looking for a bounce. 340, 320. This was like the 3-month breakout here. 330, 340. So I want to see if it can dip back to that. It's either going to do that or maybe it holds these 450 spots and turns up again. And you saw what happened with ASTC when you could hold its lows. Thing exploded from 33 to 60. So the potential in squeezes there. INFQ. It's unreal what's going on in the market. INFQ's up 15%. So quantum stock, quantum's on the move. I mean, there's so much going on. It's unbelievable. But you got to just pick and choose. Like I said, even when PDT technically is dropped, that doesn't mean you have unlimited money where you can trade everything. Because then if you do that, you're going to put like $500 into everything and it's not going to work. You still have to pick and choose what you like. And you still are going to have to be pretty precise. So on Monday, it'll be interesting to see, how many people just get out there and start trading unlimited that thought that was going to be the solution. Because I don't think that's the solution. But I do think, the PDT, that for people that do know how to have good risk level and trade properly, I think it's going to help them significantly if you're under that rule. But those of you guys that aren't too disciplined out there, I think you might get exposed, and that's not a bad thing. That just means you got to be prepared and just do better as the trades go on, because this is going to be an everlasting thing. They're not going to just put PDT back on. We also have a new Fed chair that's coming in this month, so it's first month with him. A lot of stuff is happening. In the finance world. I even saw that Schwab just put an alert out there. I'm going to have to call them after the bell today to ask about this, because yesterday I asked about PDT rule and how that works, and they just said you have to have 2K by Monday and you're good to go, unlimited trades. I saw that they're going to start doing Bitcoin trading too on Schwab. Now, the thing about that is I feel like Bitcoin market might get a little lighter volume because we now can unlimited trade in stocks, but you never know. It could also open up a floodgate So Schwab is also going to start letting you trade Bitcoin. I'm guessing altcoins too. You could probably just buy Zcash as a stock instead of buying ZCSH. But ZCSH is doing a pretty nice move, and same with CYPH today. If you do like those, I mean, 44 would be the support here. And then CYPH, you technically have like a 118 support. 108's always been the spot for CYPH. Every time we usually play it, it's around 108 or holding 108. It's exactly what it did this morning. All right, we're entering the fourth quarter of Power Hour here. So last 15 minutes, we'll see if there's any type of push or moves here into the close. The lighted one that you brought up, Johnny, is still holding, but I'm going to stay away from it. But DBLVF I threw on there because my man Johnny found it. It wasn't a bad watcher at all. But just a little too light. It didn't really move anywhere. Same with ELTP. It just didn't move anywhere. I was looking for this to get back above 40 and possibly follow up tomorrow, but just not moving anywhere right now. Former runner. ABAC got rejected at 4, typical. It's done that a couple times, so we'll see if it's ever able to do that break. But after hours, I'll be watching it. Remember, ABAT does move till 8 p.m. Eastern, so you can keep your eyes on it after hours. It's probably not going to be too volatile. You know, there'll be other fun ones that you can watch after hours if you want. LASE will probably be a really good one. Huge runner with that drone news. And then you have ASTC that's still very, very volatile right now. All right, a bat back to highs. Will it break 4, or is it just going to sit here again? The questions we ask ourselves. The testing 4 right now. So let's see. It's got a big seller up there at 4. And then UURF keeps holding, and then also ELTP. See if we can get above this 4 spot, but there are big sellers there. Sorry. So we're 394 and ABAT's looking okay. This 442 in UURF, I'm hoping we can push within the last 10 minutes. We are in the last 10 minutes in the day. I'd love to see some sort of push here. Looks like those big sellers right now are a lot for ABAT. But this is what we want to see into close. The strength, power, the push. So ASTC, LASC will be fun to watch after hours. UAMY, a nice metal stock up 9%. I'll probably watch this in MP as well after hours for the metal sector. If those two are down when we wake up tomorrow, I'll start to be a little iffy about the other one. I'm going to buy a little more ABAT here. I like the way it's closing. I'm debating on adding to UURAF. I mean, it's held 440 pretty cleanly. That's all you need is the gap up. Man, the wall that we've got here. Gotta be kidding me. But the one thing is UURF has held 440. That's nice. ABAT has got itself a wall. Come on, let's get UURF to come up to close the 450 in the last couple minutes. That would be beautiful. All right, we got 5 minutes left. We look for the buzzer beater pushes here. If we don't get the push, as long as we get the support holds, we just stick to the cut like we did in KRKNF today, and we let the hopefully winners push into the close, and then push into the open tomorrow, or gap up tomorrow. So those are the two things we'll be looking for. ASTS and LASC, you can watch after hours with this ABAT if you are in ABAT with us after hours. One thing I like to do is put some alerts after hours, right click, put add a drawing, put price level, and we'll probably put one at 401. So I'll be ready if it does clear 401. And then I'll put one down at like 393. And you put create alert with drawing when it comes below. I'll do another one down here at 392. All right. ELTP couldn't quite get too much volume as it's kind of just still sitting here. But 41 is the multi-month resistance, so tomorrow we will look for it to break that spot. Let's see if UUREF gets any type of push off this 440 spot it had. Held all day pretty much, or all afternoon and this morning. And then Cooler is coming back to that support spot into the close. But I'm going to stick with those two. I always like to do one OTC, one listed usually. So these are the ones we're going to go with. One second, let me just grab my water really quick. Hopefully ABAT doesn't dip back to 393, but it looks like that $4 resistance got rejected once again. The good thing is UAMY is spiking into the close, which is a good thing for metal stocks. It's up 10%. So we've got one metal stock moving. Hopefully MP makes the move too. But I'd like to see that move into the close here. Looks like ABAT and $4. Typical resistance there. Resistance is resistance for a reason. And if you zoom out to ABAT, what you do want to pay attention to, it's also long-term resistance. So will it be able to get the follow-up? I think if it does get the day, it's going to go. But if it doesn't, we'll probably be quick to get out. That's why I try not to get too excited for any type of pop or anything until we're actually out of it. Right back to our entry spot. Two-minute warning. All right, so if you did take ABAT with us, keep an eye on it after hours. Obviously, the dip is not what we wanted, but it's still, that's why we bought on the dip, so I feel comfortable. Might even add more after hours if it keeps holding. Look for the $4 break. Keep an eye on this ALSC and ASTC. Those will be fun to watch. But that's really where we are going to close out this day. If you are on YouTube or social media with us, still logged in, and you enjoyed what you saw here, I'm live every day on the Simpler Trading website under Stock Snipers. It's only $7 to try your first month if you want to come check it out and try it with the team. Come tag some bags. We'd love to have you. I'm doing it every day no matter what, so I'll be there. If not, we'll be back here next week for another live session. But all right, we'll get this ABAT and UURAF gap up and hopefully tag the bags tomorrow. Good luck, YouTube family. I will see all of you guys either next week or back with my squad tomorrow. Battery 20%. See you guys. Have a great rest of the day. Be the best versions of you. I'm heading to Orange Theory. Peace.